Welcome back to the All American Savage Show podcast. I'm your host, John Burke, with my beautiful bearded husband, Josh.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing? How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, my gosh. So today is Labor Day, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening in, Josh and I came in on our day off because we want to do this podcast for you. Come rain, shine, sleet, or hail, we are here to give you the best quality entertainment that maybe a nickel can buy. I don't know. We're just doing our thing here. But we just got done having the interview with Destiny. He's a Twitch streamer. I've debated Destiny a few times on Twitch, some Twitch panels. Have a lot of respect for Destiny because Destiny is not so biased that he will deny his own bias, or he'll be willing to call out people on different sides. And he at least has that consistency, and I respect that about him.
I can respect the fact that he has different opinions that I probably disagree with 95% of what he's saying, but I think that's just how he believes that the country should be run. So I disagree with a lot of what he says. Like,
it's always good to have a conversation with somebody that's intelligent, even though you don't agree with their stance. Like, it's good because they will at least explain as to why they think the way they do and feel the way they feel, versus some people are just kind of like, well, I think this way because it's just how I was raised to be, versus you can actually back your way of thinking, your rationale and logic. Even if that logic I think is flawed, or even if I think that maybe it's a little off base, I still respect the fact that that guy will hold true to his guns. And there's a lot of people on Twitch that I respect that are on the opposite side of the political spectrum, or maybe close to. But again, I like Destiny. I've always appreciated his willingness to be honest. He's definitely not gonna be one of those guys that's going to sugarcoat stuff just for the sake of fitting in or getting famous. So I can respect anybody that kind of does that. So again, big thank you to Destiny for coming on the stream and the podcast. That will be uploaded later today. And as it stands now, we are not streaming on YouTube because essentially right now we are banned for a week on YouTube because we were discussing COVID. We were discussing COVID, and YouTube pulled the stream because it was medical misinformation. Said I've got a strike against my account, and I can't go live or post for 1 week. I think we're about 3 or 4 days into that, and then we'll be back on YouTube. But you can go to my alternate YouTube channel, which if you just Google or you just YouTube John Burke The Arena or John Burke All American Savage Show podcast, you'll see the backup YouTube channel there. And we are now on Spotify
and Rumble.
Rumble
won't kick us off.
Rumble won't kick us off.
You have an honest discussion about anything on Rumble.
That's got to be nice. Once we're able to figure out how to go live with Restream on Rumble, we'll definitely do that. But it's getting to the point now where you can't even have a discussion about COVID. Like, I would pretty much say the discussion Destiny and I just had about COVID would get pulled from YouTube because it's a discussion or it's opinion vocalizing. But if it's not in keeping with the mainstream media, regardless of which side that might be, well, no, primarily mainstream media on CDC and the WHO and organizations like that. Like, if you're even questioning it, just the act of questioning it is medical misinformation, which I think is bullshit. It's literally just saying 100%. I have a right. Yeah, we should question everything.
Yeah.
But no, it was good having a good conversation with Destiny. But anyway, you can find us on Rumble, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud, All American Savage Show podcast. Guys, if you could do me a favor, if you could go leave us a good review on iTunes to help us bump us up through the system, I would be greatly appreciative. Leave us some 5 stars, leave a good comment. That helps us get out to more ears out there. This episode is brought to you by ShellShockCBD.com. It is September. Harder, Daddy. All subscriptions that lock in for Shell Shock CBD using code SUB are 20% off for this month alone. That's right. Say like you need Sleepy Time gummies. These are CBD with melatonin. There is no THC. You will not fail a drug test. You can lock in at a 20% discount, and then next month it reverts back to a normal 10% discount just for being a subscriber. But that lasts only for this month and this month alone. So save yourself 20% by subscribing. That includes every product on the website. So go check us out. Again, that is ShellShockCBD.com. Big thanks to everybody supporting the stream. All right, let's get right into it. Today is Monday. It is Labor Day. Many people are at home, not working today, and justified. Hope they're having a wonderful day. If you're listening to us, wherever it is, you might be in the gym, on your drive to going to see your in-laws. God bless you. I'm sorry for that. Appreciate your support. Here we have it. Biden standing. This comes to us from Fox News. And again, I read news from various different sources, so it's not just one-sided. Biden standing among Americans nosedives in wake of Iraqi-Afghanistan exit COVID surge. There's something I'm seeing on the news right now and social media is that Afghanistan debacle is dying down very quickly. CNN only has like one or two articles, minor articles on the page that are referencing Afghanistan. Meanwhile, there are still Americans over there that are stranded. We were talking about previously there were 6 airplanes that were grounded that were full of Americans the Taliban won't allow to take off. I know many different people are tweeting about it. And right now, from what we're seeing is the Biden administration, I don't know if they're doing nothing about it, but nothing's being done so far. So there could be strings getting pulled in the back end. I don't know, but now the way it looks like, it doesn't look good as far as them being allowed to take off. But Biden's approval underwater in surveys following turbulent Afghanistan withdrawal, Delta variant fueled COVID spike. Okay, regardless of how you believe COVID to be, realistic or non-realistic, Biden's handling of this is not in keeping with the promises that he made. Whether you like Biden, you don't like Biden, the fact is Biden said he had a plan. He tweeted about this. We've seen this, and clearly he does not. Clearly he does not. As Labor Day marks the traditional close to summer, President Biden's poll numbers are taking a hit. Again, I think it was last week, I think it was Friday, the Rasmussen poll showed 52% disapproval rating that they regret voting for Biden, facing a barrage of bipartisan criticism for weeks after his handling of the turbulent U.S. withdrawal and evacuation from Afghanistan. With a surge in new COVID cases due to the spread across the country this summer of the highly infectious Delta variant, the president's approval ratings are slipping. Biden's approval rating hovered in the low to mid-50s since taking office in late January. But his numbers started sliding last month as the crisis in Afghanistan dominated media coverage and mask mandates started returning in certain spots across the country as coronavirus cases rose. The president stands at 45% to 49% approval disapproval. In an average of the latest surveys compiled by Real Clear Politics, and at 46 to 48% in a compilation by the polling and analysis website 538. 40% of Americans question an I don't even know what these polls are. Like, have you heard of these polls? Yeah, I've heard of the Rasmussen one. I haven't heard of
Politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Real Clear Politics. Who runs these polls?
I don't know. They're supposed to be third party, unbiased.
Unbiased. Is anybody unbiased? And like, I don't even know if I believe this. Like, and we were talking with Destiny about this. I don't care for Biden's presidency so far, but when people say they poll people, it's like, where are these polls being conducted? Who are you polling? Where are you polling? And who's operating the polls? It's like saying Coca-Cola is going to run this study on obesity. It's like, really? Do I really want your company running a study on obesity? It's like, I don't know.
I think a better way to gauge things is looking at, what was it, the Virginia college football game?
Oh,
the entire stadium was chanting Biden sucks.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that.
I would say it's more people that disapprove of his presidency.
Well, I mean, that's also like one specific group in an area. I mean, that's just they're heavily red over there. No pun intended.
In Virginia? I think Virginia is like it's a blue state, right?
I'm talking about that specific location in that stadium, like making that the gauging point of everything else in America. Like, you go to places in LA, you're probably not going to see that.
I don't know.
Nah, true. I mean, from based upon what the polls are saying, the overwhelming majority, I shouldn't say overwhelming, like 52 to 53% of people do not like Biden right now. And that was from the Democratic left, so we'll see.
He just hasn't done, what has he done except fail on
sniff children and eat candy bars and ice cream.
The jobs report came out and the black unemployment rate now is way up. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Weird
how that
all these promises. 44% of Americans questioned in an ABC News Washington Post poll released this Wednesday said they approved of the job Biden's doing in the White House, down 6 points from June. Just over half of those polls, 51%, gave the president a thumbs down on how he's handling his This is like, even in his YouTube videos, they turn off comments. And then you look at the ratio and it's bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just, like, it's bad. Like, you look at this, it's like, good Lord. Gary Langer, the longtime director of the polling at ABC News, highlighted that in data dating back to the Harriet Truman administration, only 2 presidents have had a lower approval rating at this point in their terms. Donald Trump at 37% in August of 2017, and General Ford also in 37% of March of 1975. Ooh, people on the left are not going to like that. Likening Biden to President Trump in regards to disapproval at this point in there, that is that good. That is not good.
Right out of the gate, he was the worst president. Right out of the gate.
I mean, yeah. What are you going to do? I mean, Biden walked in and immediately the Afghanistan withdrawal was a huge cluster. And it's sad. It's sad that people have been abandoned. We still have Americans over there. Like, don't forget these people, ladies and gentlemen. They are still there. and it just like the media is just not really covering it much anymore as far as those that are stranded over there. We still have Americans over there. They're not completely out. They're not completely pulled.
Look, it's been 4 or 5 days. Let's move on.
4 or 5 days. What do you want me to do?
We're not getting those people back. Let's move on.
Let's change.
Look, have you seen the climate change?
Let's deflect.
Look,
the ABC News Washington poll. Okay, I'm gonna move on from this. Yeah, that's okay. So Biden's not doing so hot in the ratings. We've been covering this for the last week. It's not gonna improve anytime.
He sucks.
He's in a tailspin right now, and it's not gonna get any better unless he's going to have to fabricate something that he can combat and conquer to try and get his rating, because that would be like there's Democrats
What's
still
that?
praising this guy. Yeah, I don't know.
Staying up past 6.
I don't know.
He
man.
did it.
He did it. Our president did it.
He can stay up till 7 o'clock.
This coming to us from Breitbart. I am going to get to CNN. I know people in the chat are going to be like, oh my God, he's reading only one. I'm reading them across the board. This one's actually been proven true. Taliban claims victory against Panjshir, excuse me if I mispronounce that, resistance. Now, for those that don't know, there were some areas in centralized Afghanistan that were still holding out against the Taliban. It was the last line of defense, and apparently that has fallen. The Taliban on Monday claimed to have captured Panjshir Valley, stronghold of the anti-Taliban resistance movement, headed by Ahmad Massoud and former Afghan Vice President Amrullah Saleh. The National Resistance Front, NRF, disputed the Taliban's claims and vowed to continue fighting. Again, Taliban are just like our media. They're going to use any press hit piece to make it seem as if they have validation, that they are in complete control. They very well could be, or they might not be, but don't forget, they lie. Panjshir province, the last stronghold of the mercenary enemy, was completely conquered, Taliban spokesman Zabullah Moayyed said via Twitter on Monday morning. Taliban's claim of occupying Panjshir is false, the NRF responded in a tweet of its own. The NRF forces are present in all strategic positions along the valley to continue the fight, the resistance stated. We assure the people of Afghanistan that the struggle against the Taliban and their partners will continue until justice and freedom prevails. However, Massoud also said on Sunday that his fighters would be willing to lay down their arms if the Taliban halt its attacks and withdrawal from the valley. The NRF conceded that on Monday that its spokesman, Fahim Dashti, was killed in Panjshir Valley over the weekend, but said Massoud and Saleh survived Taliban attacks on their residences. The resistance claimed in response that its forces killed the Taliban's top military commander of northern Afghanistan. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Either Taliban, right now, the Panjshir are now I shouldn't say it that way, are using Taliban tactics. They're going to go to the mountains. They're going to utilize the very same tactics the Taliban used against us, and it's going to be a very interesting mountain warfare type of ordeal.
Well, Lindsey Graham is already hinting that they're going to have to send U.S. troops back in.
Fuck Lindsey Graham.
I'm telling you, that guy.
No way.
How that piece of crap keeps getting.
God. He wants to send
all these people though.
He wants to send troops back.
People, yeah.
Where?
Back into Afghanistan.
Everything's like occupied.
There's threat of terrorism will force the United States to send troops back into Afghanistan. But we'll see.
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I think it's ridiculous. I understand Crenshaw's point of view that you're going to have to keep a permanent presence there to combat terrorism. I just don't believe in it.
I was thinking about this. So, what other friendlies do we have over in that region? What other U.S. bases are over in that area?
As far as the Middle East in general, or Iraq and Afghanistan?
I mean, is it Israel? Do we have a base in Israel?
I don't think we have a base in Israel. I think we have troops over there that work alongside it. And then I think we have we still have presences in Kuwait. I don't know if we shut our bases down in Kuwait. It's a good question.
I mean, because
we do have strategic positions close to it, but not in it.
Because the United States has military bases set up all over the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where would the closest military base be in
relation to Afghanistan?
Right.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean,
you're talking about as far as like utilizing like drone strikes and things,
right?
That's the other problem. Is like it's not going to be.
But
so
what are you
going
to do? Like, what are you going to?
We don't have intelligence gathering operations on the ground. It's literally going to be he said versus she said. If we did source running, it would have to be we'd have to actually have troops on the ground to actually do that type of precise targeting. You can't just do it based upon speculation of a source. You have to have troops on the ground gathering intel saying for sure that this is where this person's at or this is what they're doing, versus just kind of like third-party gossip from source intelligence gathering. And that's just me spitting this out from a completely hypothetical position. Like I don't know 100% off the top of my head.
Right.
But it just doesn't sound good to say, hey, we're going to send troops back. It's like, I don't agree with that.
No, you're talking about American lives.
Mm-hmm. It would, and the other part that people don't seem to understand, like especially Lindsey Graham, and again, it's always the rich people want to send the other people to war, even though they volunteered. I grant they volunteered. I don't think Lindsey Graham understands that you will now be facing a legitimate army. Like, this won't be like it was in the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan back in 01 and 03. It will literally be, if you're sending people dropping in to, say, for example, you send the Rangers in to resecure Bagram, there will be artillery pieces on the ground with that area bracketed. There will be Taliban there ready for them with actual capabilities they didn't have before. So it won't be the military. It won't be the freaking politicians going back over there. That's for sure. It'll be the military.
Yeah, they just sitting there.
It's going to be military men and women
voting.
Yeah, if they do commit troops back to it, it's going to be men and women in uniform dying for the mistakes made by the Biden administration. I can't support that. I can't support that. Oh my God.
Nope.
And there's all over Twitter, breaking resistance forces say Maulawi Festin, Taliban's general commander of North Afghanistan, has been killed in Panjshir. Taliban did not confirm or reject it yet. Taliban plays it much like our own government does. They're not going to come out and publicly admit when they fuck up or whatever the case may be. They're going to sweep it under the rug. They're going to put on this other projection of how fair and balanced and equality they are. No. And next article comes from CNN. Taliban accused of murdering pregnant Afghan policewoman in front of her family. This comes to us updated at 6:37 a.m. on Monday, September 6, 2021. Taliban murdered a pregnant policewoman in front of her family on Saturday night, according to her son. Her death in the central Afghanistan province of Ghor adds to mounting concerns about the repression of women under the Taliban's rule. Now, if you remember last week we said in the show that there's a lot of places in Afghanistan where the press can't go and won't go. And a lot of these places are where they're holding the public executions, the stoning of women, the murdering of them. It's going on right now. I guarantee you it's going on. I'd be willing to bet my next paycheck that what's not in the spotlight, what's not in the camera lens is actually happening. But they're not going to draw a lot of attention to that because it's going to make Taliban look bad on the international stage, more so than they already do. And the Taliban realize this. They understand how to play the optics angle now. They're not stupid. The Taliban murdered a pregnant policewoman in front of her. Okay, the victim's full name was Nigar Masumi. Her sister told CNN. Her killing was also confirmed to CNN by a local journalist in Ghor who said she worked in Ghor prison and was 8 months pregnant when she died. The Taliban told CNN they were not involved in her death, but have launched an investigation.
I see nothing wrong here.
That's like Washington investigating themselves, saying, "Okay, we know we did all these wrong, but we're going to investigate that, not you." It's like, yeah, I trust that like I would trust Casey Anthony watching my own children. Actually, not going to happen. So I don't agree with that, but it is what it is. Video obtained by CNN showed her son Mohammed Hanif giving his account of the murder, saying that the Taliban came inside the house where his family lives and then took himself and his brothers outside and tied them up. They killed our mother before our eyes. They killed her with a knife, Hanif said. Because she was pregnant, Hanif said the Taliban carried out 2 murders and called upon the government to act to find the killers and bring them to justice. If nothing is done, Hanif warned, we might have to take law into our own hands. Do you really believe there's justice in Afghanistan? Like, are you really calling for the government, the unstable government, to give you justice? If you do,
I've got a bridge over in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you.
It's a horrible situation no matter how you look at it. It's sad to see this. Bilal Karimi, a Taliban spokesperson, denied the accusations. She hasn't been killed by the Muad'Din of the Islamic Emirate. Probably it is because of a personal animosity. But we haven't received the final result of the investigation, he said. The Taliban are conducting investigation. This is just, we're living in the twilight zone right now. We are living in the twilight zone that an organization like the Taliban can come in and have legitimacy. I mean, having legitimacy, yes, they are legitimately the rulers of Afghanistan now. There's no denying that. But to try and paint yourself as being legitimate justice seekers is insanity to me. It's like, didn't you just get done murdering all those other people over there, and now you want us to think that you're
fair and balanced?
Fair and balanced? Like, we should just call you Fox News 2.0 because even Fox News is full of shit.
Fair and balanced.
Taliban leaders have insisted publicly that women will play a prominent role in society in Afghanistan and have access to education. Meanwhile, there's reports of people fleeing the country, schools being shut down. Like there were little images of Taliban painting over these murals showing female faces on salons and things such as that. And you want to sit there and tell me that you are promoting this idea that women will have equality in Afghanistan? Like, stop. Like, who believes this? Like, who honestly believes this?
Democrats?
You know, I don't even know if... yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't think... I don't...
We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know.
The jury's still out. The jury's still out on this one. They are still involved in talks over forming a government, but in recent weeks have signaled women should stay home, and in some instances, militants have ordered women to leave their workplaces. Well, that's fair and balanced. That's equality-driven, 100%. I mean, it's like...
what kind of job opportunities are over in Afghanistan?
Well, apparently a lot now that the women have been kicked out of the workforce under the premise of equality. This is just ridiculous. I mean, the Taliban's just openly acknowledged that, hey, we're pieces of shit. It just is what it is. They are still involved in talk. The moves are at odds with groups that attempt to seem more tolerant and have instead stoked. And this is why Democrats are doing this optic. This is why Democrats, or not, I'm sorry, this is why I'm reading Democrats in the Twitch chat. This is why the Taliban are trying to push this optic to essentially draw more support from other political leaders around the world. They want to seem legitimate. They want to seem inclusive. They want to seem for equality. And they're going to win more people over that way. But it's not the case, ladies and gentlemen. It's, again, don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain. I fought against these people for many different years. They are not to be trusted. Shit, America's not to be trusted for that. No. I mean, don't trust anybody. I'm like, hey, it's the 80s. We're going to arm you. You're going to fight the Russians, the Muad'Dim. And then come in, you know. We're going to invade you later. Now you're our enemies. And then we're going to do it again. So it's like, I mean, don't even trust America on this one. We are in such a sad state of international affairs that you can't even trust our own fucking American government because we fucked over so many people in the past that I just, yeah. These moves are at odds with the group's attempt to seem more tolerant and have at least, okay, so at least CNN is reporting that they're hypocritical. I kudos to CNN for actually reporting their hypocrisy. These moves are at odds with the group's attempt to seem more tolerant and have instead stoked the fears of a return to the harsh policies of Taliban rule 2 decades ago, when women all but disappeared from public life. Some Afghan women are already opting to remain indoors as fears mount over their safety, with such families purchasing full-length burqas for female relatives. Over the weekend, a women's protest in Kabul was met with violence after Taliban forces prevented the women from marching on to the presidential palace, according to the Afghan news network Tolo News, which reported the use of tear gas on protesters. Those women are lucky they were not mowed down by machine guns. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, they are lucky. I could have sworn. Like, the other thing, it's like Hitler's Gestapo. Like them, they're going to come in the middle of the night and they're going to yank you out of your house and they're going to put a bullet in your head. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. They might not do it publicly, but behind the curtains, they're going to eliminate you. They will. Like, do not get that twisted. Do not get that twisted. The Taliban care about having a patriarchal rule. That's what they do. And it's based in theology. It's based in Islam. Don't even get it twisted for a second that the Taliban give a shit about equality. They do not. All right, moving on to the next topic, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, yeah. Polak, this is from Breitbart News, saying Biden broke his main promise to control the pandemic. Biden should have never made that promise. How can you control a pandemic? Supposed pandemic. You know, whichever side you believe on this one. How can you go in there and say, I'm going to vanquish something that is worldwide? I remember. We showed the tweets on my Instagram channel at Sergeant Savage 1776. All the tweets he made. To include the ones where he said we leave no man behind. Just kidding. Playing. Joe Biden promised to control the coronavirus pandemic, and he is failing. Today there are more new coronavirus cases than there were at this point in 2020. The economy is sputtering, and parents are starting to worry that schools will close once again. Moreover, the FDA officials are resigning in protest at the White House's efforts to impose booster shots that they say are not yet supported by scientific evidence. Breaking a central Biden campaign promise to follow the science. Now, again, I'm not a scientist. I'm confused on this. The booster shot, what would that be comprised of? More of the same, or like I'm I'm genuinely being sincere here. I'm not trying to like paint or slander. I'm sincerely asking, what consists in a booster shot? Is it a change of what you're being injected with already? Is there something different, or is it the same thing, just more of it? Because I don't understand on that one. And again, who am I supposed to believe when both sides politicize and weaponize this whole under thing that we're doing? Who do you go to believe to get accurate reporting?
Yeah. When you're talking to Destiny, he was bringing up, you might have some people that will talk about other therapeutics that you don't see on the news, that you don't see continuously. Like, how many people has Dr. Fauci treated with COVID?
No,
0?
From what they say, yeah.
All right, so if you keep trotting out the same people over and over again, telling you like ivermectin doesn't work, hydroxychloroquine doesn't work, these other therapeutics don't work, but behind the scenes, the people that are actually treating these patients and using these therapeutics that are working are not getting in front of the camera, not getting in front of the people.
Yeah.
I mean, it could go both ways.
I mean, Joe. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if freaking Joe Rogan just proved it worked, or if it didn't. I mean, it could have been that he got. I don't know, because I mean, Joe Rogan made the post about him taking ivermectin. Is that what it's called?
Ivermectin. Yeah.
Ivermectin, and then I saw Alex Jones' spiel. Like, I'm sorry, that dude's crazy. That dude is just crazy, because like he just like I'm intense when I'm passionate about something. But I still think there's like a form of rationality that comes with. Alex Jones is like, Fauci, you ain't murdering anymore. It was Fauci, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't care for Fauci, but I don't think Fauci's intentionally trying to murder anybody.
Yeah, he just might have been pushed way over the edge.
Exactly. I think there has to be a modicum of like common sense to this. I don't care for Fauci's outlooks. I don't think Fauci really knows what he's talking about. And I would have a lot more respect for people that came out and said, hey, we're not sure. We're trying to figure this out.
From his initial emails to his buddies, it sounds like he does know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
100%.
I think there are therapeutics. So it goes back to the one doctor who was prescribed a mask.
Yeah.
So you get your COVID positive test. Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck. We're not going to give you anything to help you out.
And the other reason why I can agree with you on that is because we looked at, for example, Delta 8. Yeah, totally going and plugging Shell Shock CBD on this one. Look at states, and this is the whole point being is that the government is in league with a lot of these different companies, hence why we don't really have true capitalism. We have corporatism. But you look at states where right now medicinal and recreational marijuana has been legalized. And we want to talk about government involvement to protect certain corporate entities. And then in those very same states, Delta 8 is illegal. Now, for those that don't know what Delta 8 is, it's an isomer of Delta 9, which is found in cannabis, which is found in weed. But for some reason, Delta 8 is illegal and cannabis is not. How the fuck does that make any sense? Oh, I know why. Because Delta 8 is cheaper. It works insanely well, especially in the veteran community, but they ban it. So it's like to sit there and say the government doesn't have an iron in this fire or a vested interest. I have to disagree with you emphatically because we're already seeing it. We're seeing it with Shell Shock CBD. You know, we're fighting against these government programs, and they're clearly showcasing that they are favoriting big pharma. They're showcasing and again, I've called it before. You watch these main weed companies are going to turn into big pharma, because here in Texas, even to get the licensing to even sell medicinal marijuana, which they're not even taking licenses anymore, but it costs upwards of $750,000. Mm-hmm. $750,000 just to be a dispensary. Why? Like, how is that even right? To sit there and say you have to have $750,000 for a licensing and processing fee? That's fucking insanity to me.
To grow marijuana.
No, that's just to sell. That's not even to grow.
All right.
That's what's crazy about it. That's what's insane to me. But you go to places like Oklahoma, and I think we look at like $2,500 for a license. Like, what the fuck is up with Texas?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It comes to who's got the most money.
Who's got the money? So
who's got the money and who's got a government office?
Who's gonna benefit from it? So when people say that this whole thing with COVID isn't politicized, I have to disagree. And that's the thing that just blows my mind. So if I have a product that works, like Delta 8, we sell Delta 8, we have it here. There's 12 states that we cannot ship to, unfortunately. In those very same states, marijuana is legal. And when people hit us up about that, it's like, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I do without getting political.
Yeah.
But the problem is, like, this is the situation we're facing. They ban shit that actually works well. And that's what's crazy. I don't understand that. Joe Biden promised to control the coronavirus pandemic, and he is failing. Today, there are more new coronavirus cases than there were at this point in 2020. The economy is sputtering. Okay, we already read this, so he's not following the sign. Biden has repeatedly touted his administration's success in distributing coronavirus vaccines, but Biden has followed the plans left for him by the Trump administration, which not only developed the vaccines despite Biden's public skepticism, but also prepared them for rollout. Now, this is actually true. I remember on the tail end of Trump's administration, this was already in the process. The one difference Biden made on vaccine was his ill-fated decision to suspend the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, a mistake that slowed the rollout and bolstered the skepticism of the vaccine-hesitant minority. Now, Johnson & Johnson, didn't they get sued? No, they had to recall. They had to recall a lot of the vaccine, like millions of vaccine doses, because there was apparently tampering, or there was a it was in a lab, and they say basically there was it was bad condition. I forget what it was, but it was true. Like you can look this up. I regret not having this for you guys, but essentially they had millions that didn't make it to market. They had millions that didn't get distributed because essentially there was contamination. I think it was.
Well, right now in Japan, they suspended the Moderna one. They said 1.6 million doses were recalled because there was, I guess,
good Lord,
steel or metal.
Yes, that was the one. Yes. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll pass. I'll take some zinc.
I'm gonna take a hard pass on that one. I don't know if that's really gonna be what I really want to do. Like, I'm not really sure, so I don't know. Oh my God,
it's a lot. 1.3.
It's insane.
1.6 million.
It's insane to me. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But again, people are going to believe things regardless of what you say. And again, that's why I believe in this idea of like to each their own. If you want to take it, take it. If you're unsure of what you want to do in regards to you think that there could be lying at the hands of the press, well, then by all means, do what it is that you feel is right for your own. I just don't like the idea of it being forced on people. I don't agree with that. But
no, I think more effort should have been put into therapeutics rather than rolling out a vaccine.
Hindsight, I don't know.
Like, is it hindsight?
When you say, like, describe that for me though. Like,
describe what?
What you said, like
therapeutics.
Yeah, well, like what? Give me examples.
Well, like the Z-Paks, the hydroxychloroquine, like these other medicines that have
You don't think they weren't experimenting with that?
No, I think they were. Destiny had brought up the French doctor over in France who was using the hydroxychloroquine, and he had. I know when Tucker Carlson had him on his show, he had listed like 80 or 100 patients that he had given the medication to that turned their situation around. Even here in Texas, you had the one doctor down in Houston who was handing out the hydroxychloroquine, talking about patients on their deathbed. Like, if you get on a ventilator, you have a 3% chance of making it out. So, getting on a ventilator is essentially sealing your fate. So, before you get to that point, these doctors should be putting out therapeutics. So that's where. Well, I think that the effort should have been.
You get people like freaking Joe Rogan who did just that and beat it in 3 days.
Yeah,
so
tested negative.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. He also tested negative. He was out of the system. So, I just... where are we supposed to go to believe anymore? Like, I feel like...
Is that anecdotal? I don't... I think there's enough people out there that are going to try this stuff. That's how it starts,
though. Like, with someone like Joe Rogan, if somebody references that, yeah, it could be considered anecdotal, but if it works, it works.
I mean, what did Trump use? Like, Trump had it.
Did Trump use that too?
I don't think he used. He used like remdesivir, hydroxychloroquine, like a whole cocktail of different antiviral drugs. Which, if these things have been around for a long time, if this malaria pill has been around for 60 years,
but this is a new strain of virus, though, so I can understand why people are going to be skeptical about it. But at the same time,
using a drug that's been in circulation for like, I don't know, 40, 50 years.
Based upon, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm saying based upon what the optics the press is creating, I can see why people would be doubtful. But then, like, that's why Joe Rogan caught so much shit. And they're like going after, like, oh, well, like this, like, if you read his comments section, people are like up in arms about him doing that. Like, you bucked the system. You didn't fall in line with the MSM said. You're putting more people at risk. It's like, but wait a minute. He took it and then tested negative. Like, he beat it. Okay, does this actually work? Like, does this legitimately work? And then I'm surprised that MSM or social media didn't silence him.
Obviously,
he's too big.
There are doctors out there that are saying this is a good resource to use. I mean, they were saying it 5 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago.
Yeah.
They were saying this is a good avenue to take.
I'm kind of tempted to go, like, try and get COVID again and then take this shit to see if it works.
Well, you can take it just as a prophylactic, just to have it in your system to
fight off stuff.
To fight it off.
Well, initially when that hit the thing, everybody was like, "Oh, it's a horse drug," and that's all. It was like, no, this was actually, again, it won a Nobel Prize in 2015, which has been proven.
Right.
Alex Jones showed this, and again, I am no fan of Alex Jones, but I saw the clip, and Alex Jones, and then also fucking Bongino did it as well. He showed it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's not so insane to sit there and say there's a drug that can go for both species.
Right. No.
So it's like, I kind of understand that, but I can understand why the MSM paints it as being wrong, because they want you to go down a certain route, and they say, hey, there's a cheaper method of doing it, and they're like, oh no, don't take that, it's a horse drug. And then Joe Rogan goes and does it, and it's like, you guys are fucking wrong.
In the fitness industry, do some bodybuilders use steroids that are used for animals?
No. 100%, yeah. Winstrol, things. Absolutely, yeah.
So
absolutely,
I mean, there is a crossover for medications or for.
In some, yeah, 100%.
So,
I'm not saying I'm just saying that's how the MSM portrays it, because they want people to doubt that there's an alternative version that works that isn't as expensive and costly as this. So it's kind of like, for my thing, it's just like, let the people choose. Let the people choose.
Companies who were making the COVID tests, like Abbott, getting billions and billions of dollars for these COVID tests. So billions and billions of dollars for making masks. You know,
there's a lot of companies that jumped in on that one. But again, I can't blame them. That's capitalism.
That's
They're not
capitalism,
hurting anybody.
but would you rather have people wearing masks or not wearing masks if you're a mask maker?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you're gonna push what again, like pharmaceutical companies get paid to keep you sick.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't think it's a conspiracy theory at all. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I think there's been people
are using this as a good opportunity to
make
more
some
control
money.
of the population and
100%. And that's why I'm in the stance of like liberty should come first. Like
liberty
you should
come
have the right.
first. Yeah, it should be,
and that way it prevents
freedom.
that. Yeah, 100%. And that's why they want, like you said, they do want to take control and force this on people, which I'm in complete disagreements with. Because again, if you get the 4 vaccinations, which by the way I think Fauci just said that if you get 4 vaccines, you'll have like
it's like
the best. You get the best protection possible. If you get jabbed 4 times, you're at your highest level of protect. Like that's 4 jabs, and I think that doesn't include the boost. That doesn't include the booster shot.
I don't know, man.
And we're gonna get to that because now there's a new variant. There's a new variant out. Like
it's gonna keep changing. It'll keep changing.
Fauci says the new, and this is coming from CNBC. The Fauci says the new MU COVID strain isn't an immediate threat in the U.S. The new COVID-19 variant MU is not an immediate threat to the United States, federal health officials say Thursday. We're paying attention to it. We take everything like that seriously, but we don't consider it an immediate threat right now, White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci said at a press briefing. MU, also known by scientists as B.1.621, was added to the WHO's list of variants of interest. On Monday, the International Health Organization said in its weekly COVID epidemiological report published last Tuesday, this variant has a constellation of mutations that suggests that it would evade certain antibodies, not only monoclonal antibodies, but vaccine and convalescent serum induced antibodies, Fauci said. There isn't a lot of clinical data to suggest that. It is mostly laboratory in vitro data. Even though COVID-19 vaccines were created with the original COVID strain in mind, the vaccines are still very effective against the Delta strain. Remember, even when you have variants that do diminish somewhat the efficiency of vaccines, the vaccines still are quite effective against the variants of that time, Fauci said. Does that make sense? Wait a minute. The common flu shot, they say that the common flu shot doesn't work because every season there's a new strain. So they have to change the vaccination or they have to change the shot.
And they usually get it wrong.
And they usually, yeah. Yeah.
It's always.
I don't even get the damn thing. I haven't
gotten a flu shot in like 8 years.
Yeah, I don't get flu shots.
No, I don't.
Because the one time I did in the Army, I had it gave me gastroenteritis, which is stomach flu, and that's the sickest I ever been. I thought I was gonna die. Yeah. Like they had to put me on fluids. It was bad. Like they knocked me out for 12 hours. They gave me the GI cocktail. I went in there and I was sputtering from both ends. Couldn't even keep water down. It was almost like alcohol poisoning. Yeah. Like you can't even keep. And I was dehydrated. No, like my then wife had to drive me to the ER. This is back when I was at Fort Campbell. They checked me in and they literally stuck me. I took 3 IV bags and they knocked me the hell out for 12 hours. But they gave me this GI cocktail. Woke up feeling amazing. But that all came from the fucking flu shot. I got the flu shot and the very next day, boom, just peeing out both ends. So when something like this comes across, I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, again, I'm no expert on this. I'm not even going to say this. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm simply advocating for the idea that liberty should be prominent. You should have the right to refuse this. And if you want to get it, get it. If you want to trust the government, trust the government. If you want to trust Fauci and the rest of them, trust them. I'm not knocking that. I don't believe Fauci. I don't believe the government. I don't trust them. I want to see long-term effects of this and see what comes to fruition. At the same time, based upon the data we've already been given, like majority of these cases, like 82% of the COVID deaths are also people that are obese. They're talking about compromised immune systems. They're talking about people in certain age percentiles that are more likely and susceptible to getting and dying from this. It doesn't include me, so I'm not really too concerned about it. Like you and I have already had COVID.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that we can't get it again, because apparently at first they said, oh, you can't give again once you get it. And then that changed and said, oh, you can get it again. Then it changed from, okay, well, if you get the vaccination, you don't spread it and you won't get it. And then it turned into, oh, yes, you will. And there's just been so much flip-flopping. And again, I understand that a lot of this is because we just don't know. Medical professionals just don't know. And the public don't like hearing that from our elected leaders. Say, hey, guys, we don't fucking know.
Yeah, if you keep changing your story on me,
then I'm not going to believe you. Yes.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Or it's just like you're
I know
just
as
trying
much
to
as you do
appease.
then.
Yeah, they're just trying to appease the masses at this point. So I think if Fauci and the government would have came forward and said, hey, guys, we don't know, and we're still waiting to see, I think people would be more open and susceptible to actually listening versus just saying, go fuck yourself. I don't believe anything you have to say now. You've lied to us so many different times.
I don't believe one single thing that they say.
Not at all.
Not one single thing.
Delta was a variant of the interest until the WHO reclassified it in early May after preliminary studies found it could spread more easily than other versions of the virus. That variant has since been blamed for a number of large outbreaks around the world, including the United States. The Delta variant is still the dominant variant in the U.S., covering more than 99% of new infections in the country. The MU variant isn't even close to being dominant in the U.S., Fauci said. MU was first identified in Colombia, but has since been confirmed in at least 39 countries, according to the WHO. Although the global prevalence of the variant amongst sequences cases has declined and it's currently below 0.1%, its prevalence in Colombia and Ecuador has consistently increased, the agency warned. We're keeping a very close eye on it. That's coming from Dr. Fauci and the WHO. So just keep that in mind because, who knows? You might get I'm just waiting for the Z strain. When's the Zulu strain getting? I don't even know anymore.
It's going to keep going.
It's going to keep going.
It's going to keep going until everybody gets into the street and starts marching down to Washington.
Yeah.
And there's 15 million people saying, all right, that's enough. Get out.
This article comes to us from Salon. I know Josh he's gonna love this article. This was sent to me over on Twitter. You can tweet me out at Sergeant Savage 1776, or no, just Sergeant Savage. I'm Sergeant Savage 1776 on Instagram, and then the John Burke as well as my main account. Salon posts this. It says, "Why Satanists may be the last best hope to save abortion rights in Texas." The non-theistic organization joins the fray with a last-ditch legal maneuver to save abortion rights in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what that is, the heartbeat bill went into effect, I think it was this month or late last, I think it was this month. It was September. Basically said no abortions after 6 weeks or heartbeat is detected. Anyone doing such will be fined, possible jail time, things such as that. And this has people on the left very fired up because, they are for abortions. They're pro-choice, except when it comes to vaccinations. Then you should be forced. So we have this one. And this hit the news, and I'm just kind of like...
Yeah, and ironically, on the ad here, it shows the statue of, I don't know, the devil with two little children.
I'm seeing the same one, yeah.
Is that...
That was the statue I think they tried to erect. Yeah, the Baphomet statue is seen in the conversion room at the Satanic Temple in Salem, Massachusetts. Now, I think don't forget, there was an organization that was created that was Satanists or something like that to troll President Bush back in 2000, I think it was. I don't think they were real Satanists, but I think this movement is actual Satanists. Satan, I think. As pro-choice and reproductive health groups are scrambling to make sense of Texas's new near-total abortion ban that went into effect this week, it appears their efforts to skirt the law are getting an unexpected boost from the organization in particular, the Satanic Temple. The Supreme Court on Wednesday night allowed state to implement a ban on the procedures after 6 weeks, before most women know they are pregnant, with no carve-outs for rape or incest. Until it is blocked or overturned, the law effectively nullifies the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, which established an abortion as a constitutional right in Texas. Enter the Satanic Temple. The non-theistic organization, which is headquartered in Salem, Massachusetts. I mean, that's kind of that's like so. Remember when they burned all the witches? I mean, it's kind of like, actually, that's not. It wasn't true. They hung them. A lot of people don't know that. Like, they didn't do a lot of burning. It was mainly they hung these witches, supposed witches. How fitting. Join the legal fray this week by sending a letter to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration demanding access to abortion pills for its members. The group has established an abortion ritual. Wow. And is attempting to use Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which was created to allow Native Americans access to peyote for religious rituals, to argue that its members should be allowed access to abortion drugs like misoprostol and mifepristone for religious purposes. I am sure Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who famously spends a good deal of his time composing press releases about religious liberty issues in other states, will be proud to see that Texas's robust religious liberty laws, which he so voraciously champions, will prevent future abortion rituals from being interrupted by superfluous government restrictions meant only to shame and harass those seeking an abortion. Okay, so the latter part of that, I don't think there's a single policy that its intent is to shame and harass anybody. It's simply to preserve the life of the unborn. So the whole shame and harassment, that's just made up fabrication by people that are pro-abortion. That's not true at all. Satanic Temple spokesperson Lucian Greaves told the San Antonio Current, the battle for abortion rights is largely a battle for competing religious viewpoints. And you see, that's where people are arguing now that abortion or anti-abortion is founded in religious principle. You can argue that all you want, but it still boils down to the same idea of you should not be allowed to murder somebody that has no choice in that. So if you want to make that a theological debate, you can. I was like, but I don't think the majority of these people out there are actually anti-abortion or even religious themselves. They just don't agree with murdering unborn. I'm not for church and state being the same. I'm not. I don't think church and state should have any business legislating any form of religion. I don't. But I understand that we're also founded on certain principles that do stem from many religions out there. They're like, for example, thou shalt not murder. There are many religions that embrace this type of ideology. So to sit there and say, like, this is only a Christian value, it's not. Anyone that wants to argue that, you're completely off on your theological backgrounds. This is not just a Christian ideology or a Christian perspective, or belief, rather. There's many other religions that agree with the same thing there, the same principles. It's unclear whether the Satanic Temple strategy of appealing to the Biden administration will work. Last year, the group tried to overturn abortion restrictions enacted in the state of Missouri, but the Supreme Court declined to hear their case. You can sit there and say that you're trying to practice a religion, and it's also kind of hypocritical that you say that this is combating a religious legislation by citing religious beliefs to combat that. Like, you're playing devil's advocate and being a hypocrite in your stances there.
The devil's actually playing devil's advocate.
The devil's actually playing devil's advocate. Yeah, 100%. Like, this makes no sense to me. It's like you're sitting there saying you shouldn't be allowed to religiously legislate any type of action, which I agree with for the most part, even though I don't think this is founded in religion. It's the principle of you shouldn't be able to murder people. But then you turn around and try and use religious convictions to be able to utilize this to essentially murder unborn children.
Yeah, I think if Satan is your last hope,
there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, you might be on the wrong side.
That's why I named the stream "Hail Satan," kind of, but not really.
All we got left is the devil. We got to call the devil up to see if he can get us our abortions back.
Look, democracy had its day. Whether you like it or not, democracy had its day, and you have to respect, or you have to at least look. It is what it is. If you don't like it, you can leave. Just like California, people are fleeing California left and right because they don't like the social and economic policies being put into place over there, and people don't like it, so we're out of here. Fair enough. Go someplace where it is. So you can't sit there and start stamping your foot demanding people adhere to your viewpoint and say, fuck democracy. It doesn't work that way.
And,
it doesn't work that way.
When you bring up rape and incest,
yeah,
it's like 1%.
Yeah, it's 1%.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said there, though. In cases of rape and incest, I think in this bill it said that's not even going to be on the table either. You can't even get an abortion for that. I think the only reasoning was for the health of the mother.
Right.
Was the only. So that part, I don't know if I agree with. Like, that's such a slippery morality slope.
That's a very slippery. I mean,
rape and incest. Like, if your daughter was raped,
right,
and then the state says she is forced to carry the spawn of the rapist, it's like, ooh. Because that in a sense removes all responsibility from the woman. She has she was raped or an incestuous relation, which I would assume was rape as well.
Right.
That removes all responsibility of, like, she had no say in that. And therefore, it's like, okay, I kind of understand that side of the house. Like that's not right. But at the same token, life is life is life. But it's so fucked up. Like that's just one of those, like there's not going to be any good answer. So you got to pick the lesser of two evils on that one. But for the overwhelming majority of other people, it's just them shirking personal responsibility. To use that 1% to frame your entire argument, they know what they're doing when they do that. Democrats and people that are pro-abortion know they're using that finite percentile to try and paint a perspective that's the overwhelming majority. It's not. It's literally not. So when people are arguing being pro-abortion or anti-abortion, the majority of these cases are not rape and incest or even life of the mother. It's still single-digit percentile.
It's birth control.
It's birth control.
So
I've done it for years.
What I'd like to see is you see these pro-abortion women who, I've had
21 abortion. I posted about it. Yeah.
What about the women who've had abortions who regretted that decision? Why don't they have? Those women are out there. Yeah. Those stories are.
I had a woman. Well, I can give a reason behind that because I had a woman in my comments section actually say that she had an abortion. It screwed her up mentally, and instantly a dude responded in the comments and said, yeah, but you're still talking, so clearly it didn't fuck you up that bad, you murderer. It's like, well, that's probably why people are not going to come forward and talk about stuff like that because people are going to demonize them for it, based upon past actions. I've been with people that had abortions, not mine, but in their past they had. Every single person said the same thing. They regretted it.
Yeah.
They regretted it because it was murdering.
It's a big decision.
Essentially, also, when you become a parent yourself, you tend to change and flip-flop because once you experience it, it's like, it's easy to sit there and shot call something that you've never had experiences with versus something that is just kind of like once you become a father and you bring life into this world or a mother, it changes you, man. It changes you.
It's a big deal. It's probably the most noble thing that any human being can do is be a parent and a good parent. And
I don't know. Have you ever won freaking a Call of Duty Battle Royale round? I mean, it's pretty fucking noble in my opinion. I'm just saying. Not everybody can do it. Anybody can go out there and have a kid for the most part. Not everybody can win a freaking Call of Duty Battle Royale. I'm just saying. I'm
saying the motives behind having a child.
And of course, people are going to misquote this. Well, John, actually, there's a lot of people that, you know what I'm fucking saying. Yeah. People are just going to try to take something and go to an extreme with it. Saying there's a lot of people that I know that.
I know there's a lot of people that can't have kids, and that's why adoption is a great option.
Yeah, and that system definitely needs to be revamped because there's so many people. Oh, they're so expensive. The process is ridiculous. I need to find someone that actually has gone through that and give a good description because I think one person to spend like $30,000 just to adopt. Who has that kind of money?
Well, I guess I would want somebody who is well off to be able to take care of a child, not just somebody who's got a.
I mean, if they do it for dogs, they should do it for humans. Like they basically say, we reserve the right to go and inspect your house if you adopt this dog. Yeah, because we want to ensure that. I mean, how much more so should a human life,
Pretty sure that's the case as far as adoption goes. That you're thoroughly vetted, which you should be, so you don't end up like
as long as you're not making the child piss on a pad or bury it in a litter box, you're good. No, I'm just playing. The battle for abortion rights is largely a battle for competing religious viewpoints. And if that's how you choose to frame the argument, so be it. But I don't agree with that. I think that's just one of those things of murder versus non-murder, the right to choose. And our viewpoint that the non-verbal or the non-viable fetus is part of the impregnated host is fortunately protected under religious liberty laws, he added. It's unclear whether the Satanic Temple strategy of appealing to the Biden administration will work. Last year, the group tried to overturn abortion restrictions enacted in the state of Missouri, but the Supreme Court declined to hear their case. I think, it says a lot when you just now come out with this. It's like very convenient wink, wink that you just now come out with this stance versus you could have been out there with the stance from the get-go, but you didn't. So I'm sorry. I don't agree with this. I think the Church of Satan should, And it's very hard for me to say this. They have the right to practice religion just like everybody else. Yeah, that's absolutely. Freedom, and I fucking hate it. I think worshiping Satan is the stupidest thing you can do out there. But at the same token, liberty is liberty is liberty. I don't have the right to dictate or cherry pick what you believe in. I don't. Nobody should. I just think utilizing that tactic is just fucking very disingenuous. Like, you didn't give a shit about that. Like, stop sitting there saying that.
Yeah, if you genuinely care about people, then where are all these satanic missionaries going over to these third world countries and trying to help out people? Yeah. I can't think of any. If there are, maybe there are, but I don't know. I don't think I'd want to. Want a sadist come and try to help my family out. Because it just comes with a lot of negative content, I think.
It does, yeah. Coming from Fox News, shooting murder trends mixed in New York City, Chicago, and other major U.S. cities as summer comes to an end. Police brass plead for peace amid bloodshed in parts of the U.S. And aren't you going to be surprised in which cities that it's more prominent? On the heels of a summer of fearing that shootings and violence in major cities nationwide would continue their upwards trends from earlier in this year, crime statistics in some places remain largely the same, if not decreased, while police officials and others, such as Chicago, continue their pleas for peace amid increased bloodshed, statistics show. Experts previously told Fox News they feared recent shooting and murder upticks would lead to more violent summer months, especially considering the numbers were higher than the previous year, even before Memorial Day. An analysis of the crime statistics for some of the major U.S. cities shows the crime statistics were varied, but the overall numbers did not stop police officials from begging the public to stop the bloodshed linked to illegal firearms and gun violence. Wait, illegal firearms?
Wait a second.
Stop. What?
Where does the Church of Satan line on this?
I don't know. Do they believe in your right to bear arms? I mean, if you can murder an unborn, you should be able to defend yourself. I mean, you would think them of all people would say you should have the right to arm yourself against a potentially tyrannical government, which in their mind, wasn't Trump a tyrannical government? Why wouldn't you be pro 2A at this point? It makes no sense to me.
You're just jumping out there for the abortion one? That's the only thing you're going to show up for is abortion?
I don't know.
Hey,
Satanists. Hey, hail Satan. Like, you want a gun? Yeah, we coming together on 2A now. I mean, if there was anything that rallied you to the cause of the Second Amendment, it should be this. Like, if you feel, honestly, like the government under Trump was tyrannical, like they were just trying to, like, I remember all the people that were espousing such just nonsensical statements, like, they're going to put us in camps. Like, what camps? Oh, Trump's going to put us in the camp. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, then if he is, maybe you should arm yourself. Well, I don't like it because these guns are weapons of war. It's like, well, no, but yes, okay, fine. I mean, it boggles my mind at this point. Like, I don't even like the standards change based upon which way the wind blows. Like, 1 minute you're anti 2A, 1 minute you're pro 2A, 1 minute you love your government, 1 minute you hate your government. Like, I'm too confused on this. Chicago. In announcing crime statistics in Chicago for the month of August, police officials described a challenging time across the city with 78 murders, or 22% more for the month compared to August 2020. The city saw a 3% uptick in murders year to date compared to the past year. And while shootings had decreased from 380 in August of 2020 to 372 in August 2021, the number of shooting victims was up by 3 last month compared to the same month last year. Well, at least they maintained some consistency in their hypocrisy. At least they have that. I'll give them that. I mean, you're close. 3% is not a big difference there unless you're dealing with massive quantities. But okay. At least you're murdering each other with illegal firearms at a normal average rate. So good on you, Chicago. Good. Lori Lightfoot, you Dr. Beetlejuice looking character, you. Good for you. Good for you. Like, whatever. Chicago, and this leads to another article where it says Chicago dad dies trying to protect daughter from gunfire while driving her to school report. For July, Chicago Police Department saw 2 fewer murders year over year, but shootings were up. CPD reported 461 shootings with 614 victims in July 2021, compared to the 402 shootings with 561 victims in July of 2020. Next city. And I would be interested in seeing like longer projections or longer statistics on the years to date on those crimes, which I'm sure you can find. I'm just too lazy to look them up right now. What city do you think is next in the shootings, ladies and gentlemen? What city do you think is next? You're going to love this. I mean, you're going to love it. Hotlanta, baby. Hotlanta. Murders appeared to have decreased from May to June in Georgia City, but were up approximately 20% from June to July. Hey, it's some summer months. Families are traveling. Or 10 to 12 murders, respectively, city statistics show. Shootings were down in July compared to June. But violent crime escalated in the city August. As of August 28th, murders for the most recent 28-day period doubled compared to the same preceding time frame, with 24 reported in August compared to 12 reported previously. Shootings were up 48%, with 48 incidents jumping to 71 in August, statistics show. Year-to-date, overall violent crime was up 9%, and murders were up 14%. Ouch. Next city, Los Angeles. Go figure. The Los Angeles Police Department reported the murders decreased as the summer progressed, with 43 reported in June, 39 in July, and 29 in August. shootings and shooting victims. Now let's take a second. Okay, let's take a second look. Like Los Angeles, what's the population of Los Angeles? Could you tell me that? What's the population of Los Angeles? We're gonna look that up for you real quick, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a point I want to make here.
Let's see. 2020 population is the county Los Angeles 2020 3,983,540.
Okay. So of a city of roughly 3 million, a little bit over 3 million, and you're telling me that in the month of July you had 39 murders out of 3 million people. And you want to talk about gun crime and gun violence being a serious issue in the American... It's not even on the top 10 killers of Americans, ladies and gentlemen. Let's put this in perspective. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is good. I'm not saying this is good at all. What I am saying, though, is if we had a gun crime problem, you would most certainly know it. You would most certainly know it. Like, that's crazy to me. 3 million people, 39 homicides, 39 murders at the hands of a firearm. And again, I wonder which kind of firearm they utilize, a rifle or a pistol. And I'm willing to bet it's a pistol. Mm-hmm. Pistols lead the way in crimes or homicides committed with a firearm. It's pistols. It's not rifles. You want to talk about being lied to and manipulated by the press, ladies and gentlemen? That's it right there. It's classic press manipulation because the AR-15 is used in a school shooting. Therefore, we have to ban the AR-15 because nobody wants to listen to logic or reasoning saying, hey, guys, actually more people die from pistols than rifles, but that rifle was used in a very high-profile crime. Therefore, that becomes the focal point, and everything else doesn't fucking matter, which makes no sense. That is flawed logic. It holds no weight. It's stupid. Again, social media highlights and magnifies the areas in which are being used to politicize a certain political narrative, which the left utilizes. Say, hey, we need to ban AR-15s. School shooting with one, that's the way to do it. Ban shotguns. Ban this. Ban that. They're always willing to just ban. But you're trying to ban the wrong things. Like, say, for example, the bans did go through in certain states where these shootings occurred. Many of them actually have. That you ban the AR-15. Well, there's no more school shootings with an AR-15, but there's still many homicides by utilizing a pistol. But those don't hit the press. They don't hit the media. So nobody cares. Therefore, you haven't effectively combated anybody dying. You've just eliminated one non-majority way in which they are dying. It's like cutting the tail off the snake versus the head. You're not doing anything. Like that blows my mind how people buy into this. But again, we fall victim to these narratives politicized by our party, and we just believe it without actually doing our own independent research. Go look at the database of the top 10 killers of Americans, and it ain't guns. And then go look at the FBI stats of what guns are used in most homicides. It ain't rifles. It ain't rifles. Year to date, however, murders, and this is Los Angeles, year to date, however, murders were up 22.5%, shootings had increased 35.5%, and shooting victims jumped up by 33.3% by the end of August, statistics show. Los Angeles County as a whole reported a year-to-date increase in homicide of 62.5%. With Sheriff Alex Villanueva describing how the murder statistics kept trending upward. There were 195 homicides reported year to date by the end of August, he said. That is very, very bad, he added. Well, thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate that clarification on, hey, guys, murder is bad. Well, thank you, sir.
And
that is
the Church of Satan is protesting
that is great. That
stance.
Is great. That is great. I love how people come in my chat. It's kind of like, you are on social... This guy's, he's got to be a boomer. He's on Facebook in loud caps. It's like, you are on social media spreading pure propaganda. I'm spreading it. S-P-R-E-E-D-I-N-G. Mark Pikus. This is an opinion show, and I make it very clear these opinions are my own. So if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself and get off my goddamn stream, you fucking commie prick. I have no idea who you even are. I don't even know if you're a communist. I'm just throwing names at you. Whatever.
Pinko.
How am I spreading propaganda? Like, can anybody, like, how am I spreading propaganda? I'm spreading my own political beliefs. But propaganda, really? Like, have I, like, stood behind any conspiracy theory out there, or am I saying question everything? I don't think that's conspiracy theorism.
No.
I think QAnon is conspiracy theorism.
What's annoying is when people are like, oh, that's conspiracy theory. I'm like, anything that you say is a conspiracy theory. If
anything that goes outside the MSM, many people consider propaganda or conspiracy theorism. But the problem is that there has been a lot of conspiracy theorism that has emerged under the Trump administration in regards to the deep state. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm saying that it is looked at it is looked at as conspiracy theorism in the sense of Pizzagate, QAnon, all that stuff, because unfortunately it comes under one umbrella. So there could be some legitimacy in certain individual things, but when you put it under one umbrella like QAnon, nothing is believed. Like I can't believe anything that comes from a QAnon person, like at all.
I think we got
like at all.
Was Jeffrey Epstein a pedophile?
Yeah.
Okay, so he had his own pedophile island.
Yeah.
Well, I think we could all agree on that. And did he have a lot of politicians that went out to that pedophile island?
100%. But that's the other problem. It's like it's not black and white. There's a gray area because people were saying that people that were on the flight log should also be considered complicit in sex with children. It's like, actually, no, you can't. And I'm not condoning it. I'm saying that we actually have to have the actual proof versus saying you were on a flight log, you were at the island. I've been in the Trump hotel. Does that now make me complicit of like grabbing her by the pussy? Like, no, it doesn't. But I think a lot of these people knew what they were doing, and they should be investigated. I think they should, but I can't sit there and just condemn a man for being on a flight log from a shady piece of shit. I can't. We have to have due process. Do I think they're guilty? Yeah, I do, but there still has to be due process.
I think there's.
We cannot.
But that's
shirk
something
due
that we
process.
could look at and say, okay, Jeffrey Epstein's a pedophile.
Well, that was proven. I mean, that was proven.
That's
legitimately,
proven. Okay, and then he's got all these politicians, all these celebrities going to his private island, having these parties. I mean, and different accounts from different women who have been out there. Who got? I mean, their testimonies out there. So,
but
is that a conspiracy theory?
No. I mean, originally it was. But that's the problem is that
originally
the conspiracy,
it was.
Yeah, but the conspiracy theorism continues when people are basically saying like all these people on the flight log are child molesters. Like, okay, no.
I don't say. I'm sure there was people that went over there and were like, "Yeah, it's Jeffrey Epstein. He's got this private island. It's cool. I'm part of this crowd."
Yeah.
And then I think there's people like, I don't know, Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Who has been over there multiple times.
I think Bill and Hillary knew, but again, it's got to be proven.
It's got to be proven. I mean, but
to go back to backtrack though, that's where the conspiracy theorism came from in a sense of like outlandish accusation. There was one on Tom Hanks. Like Tom Hanks, I love Tom Hanks as an actor. I don't care who the fuck knows it. I like Tom Hanks as an actor. I think he's an amazing actor. This does not constitute me saying I like what Tom Hanks does in his personal life, and that's where people get that twisted. But there was this conspiracy theorism that was actually pushed by QAnon. It talked about that Tom Hanks on his Instagram only posts pictures of gloves and shoes of whatever that people leave. And the premise behind it was like telling a story behind how the glove got there or whatever. And people were like, no, he's secretly saying that blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, let's look at this from a logical perspective. You're in the spotlight. You have millions of people following you, and you're a child pedophile. You're a pedophile. And you're going to leave traces and clues on a public platform where millions of people are watching you? Like, do you really think that if there is a child sex ring and these celebrities involved, they're going to leave you breadcrumbs? Risking their $1 million fortunes, their livelihoods, their family's name. You sincerely believe this. Like, you sincerely believe this. Now, do I believe they're involved? Oh, 100% I think so. Absolutely. But they're not posting stuff like, hey, guys, I'm just going to go over here and have sex with children. Oh, here's a clue. Like, what? That's like a criminal wanting to get caught. Like, that makes no fucking sense. But people don't want to buy into that because, again, it's conspiracy theorism. If you do... Well, then,
just playing devil's advocate. You have people like Corey Feldman, who talked about pedophilia is rampant in Hollywood.
Absolutely,
and he's not the first person to say that. So
and he said he was even silenced many times.
Right,
or threatened with lawsuits. Yeah, he came out. Yeah.
So I don't
Corey
think it's
Feldman's
out of the realm of possibility that people I'm not saying it's true or it's not true that Tom Hanks is a pedophile.
Yeah,
maybe he is. Maybe he's not. I don't know.
Yeah. But I've had that accusation levied at me as well, and I found that was like, what the fuck? Only because I wanted to hear what Caitlyn Jenner had to say. Yeah. And this other fucking neoconservative out there, I forget what this douchebag's name was, created all these fake screenshots of me saying, I believe if a child agrees to it, they should be able to have sex because that's what libertarians do. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, I have never heard a libertarian say that.
No,
but so I've been on the receiving end of that, and it's like, thank God there's rational people out there that say, hey, I need due process and I need proof.
There's probably going to be people that'll get collateral damage at the accusations that get lobbed in front. But
fuck me, I was almost one of them, dude. Until we told Alex or our lawyer, it's like, hey, like we have, like I screenshotted everything, like we have. Luckily, the dude deleted all of his shit, and then I came to the realization this motherfucker ain't got any money. I was like, but I wanted to crucify that son of a bitch. I forget what his name was. And he's like, I will fucking destroy you. And I was like, I'll fly you up here, bro. I will fly you up here if you want to fucking throw hands.
Yeah, I'm not going to lob accusations at anybody that I don't know anything about. Like, I'm taking
just because I wanted to hear what Caitlyn Jenner had to say. And this is where the conspiracy theorism comes from. I said I'm interested because somebody asked me, are you interested in Caitlyn Jenner running for governor? I was like, I'm open to hear what he has to say. I was like, I don't know where he stands. I don't know. I legitimately don't know. It wasn't me saying, hey, I like transgenderism. It was me saying, I don't know what that individual has to say on their what they believe politically. I had heard he was a conservative. I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And that was, and this is where the conspiracy theorism talk comes into play, that to this guy, this douchebag, fucking, oh my God, was literally that transgenderism is likened to pedophilia. I was like, no, it's not. There's a difference. Well, there have been so many transgender that have been caught having sex with children. There have been so many straight people, white people caught having sex with children. If you're wanting to paint everybody with the same broad brush, then you're just as guilty. It's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard. That's the stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard. Like, it just blows my mind how people buy into this. So by me wanting to hear what a transgender person has to say in the political spectrum, in his mind, transgenderism is likened to childhood or to pedophilia. By me wanting to hear what he has to say, I now support pedophilia. This is where conspiracy theorism gets you. This is where it goes, lady. It goes down this rabbit hole of ignorance and stupidity. That's the problem. And then when you come out there and you try and have like a rational, logical conversation saying, I'm interested. And then Caitlyn Jenner came out and said his beliefs. I was like, yeah, you're fucking stupid. No, I don't support that. Because he, originally he was like, I'm not for transgenders being in sports. They should have their own category. I can respect that. And then he was basically saying, I'm just here to represent the LGBTQ rights in Congress. Like, all right, fuck out of here. Nope, you lost me. Oh, no, absolutely not. You're there for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I disagreed. But I was never given that opportunity. Conspiracy theory came in and like, oh, well, John's now a fucking complicit in pedophilia. It's like, oh, fuck me running. I was married to a cop that combated this. You think of all people that if I was a fucking pedophile, she would have busted me. Like, I'm living with a fucking person that actually does that. So it blew my mind. But that was just one of those cases that, again, people believe the hype. They believe all this shit, and then it's like, well, you're guilty because you...
it sounded like it was maybe just that one person.
Well, that was the thing that... it was, but then other pages started picking up. Other small meme pages started running with it, and then it was going to start
people that
don't
like what you're talking about and stuff like that. And
but that was on the right. That came from the right.
It.
Yes, 100%.
So that's a perfect example of how gaslighting starts. So you have one person that... tells a lie.
And if you hate somebody enough, if you hate someone enough, you can get his haters to believe any kind of fabricated lie about them.
Yeah.
And so it's just, and that's the state of affairs that we exist in. So when people say that, oh, they were on a flight log, it's like, that does not mean that they were guilty of pedophilia. It's like, do I think they were guilty? More than likely, yes. I think people that went to Epstein's Island probably had a good feeling they knew what they were getting, or at least sex parties. And again, hey, here's the thing. Like, if you want to go to a sex party and it's all voluntarily based, do your thing. Don't fucking care. You want to go have an orgy on an island because you're rich and famous? Do your thing. Not my scene, but do what makes you happy. As long as those people are being paid for their services, don't fucking care. Not my business. But I think most people probably knew what they were doing going to Jeffrey Epstein's Island.
It sounds like a lot of these people knew about his reputation.
Yeah. Or even
a long time ago.
What's his face? The director, Weinstein. I think a lot of people knew about Weinstein.
They joked about it.
They joked,
at these award ceremonies that they had for themselves. So it's not like it was a big secret. It was just finally someone got pissed off enough and was like, this guy, he's a sick pig who
100%.
used his power to, take advantage of women.
So Josh sent me this article. Oh my God, this is interesting. This is drama. Get your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. Get your popcorn out, because this is one of those things that, like, okay, don't really care how this goes, but I'm going to be watching because this is interesting. This comes from the Daily Beast. It's all over other places now. I think it's like a 4 or 5 day old story, but it's true. It's true. And I remember where this unfolded. This is how devoted people are to Candace Owens and to Trump and the rest of these people. Like, you want to talk about just loyalists to the 10th degree, no ability to think for themselves. The headline is this: Candace Owens sued after accusing failed GOP candidate of being a strip club madam. Okay. Failed Republican congressional candidate turned pro-Trump pundit Kimberly Klekik has filed a $20 million defamation lawsuit against fellow right-wing provocateur Candace Owens over a social media video Owens posted in June accusing Clack of being a strip club madame who laundered money and used campaign funds to do cocaine. Jesus.
Like, before you say that,
you better have some proof.
Hard
like,
evidence.
Does Candace have proof on this? Because if she doesn't, Candace should be rightfully sued for libel.
Jeez.
In the lawsuit that was filed in Baltimore County Circuit Court, first reported by Fox Baltimore, Klacik claims she has seen her career in right-wing media crater after Owens posted the 44-minute Instagram video on June 22nd. Now, look, here's the thing. I have weaponized my following to go after pieces of shit that would deservedly, and I had proof. I have never weaponized my following to go after somebody just because I didn't like them in a sense of just whatever. This is what Candace is doing. Unless Candace has irrefutable proof, then yes, you should be rightfully sued. Like, you cost this woman her career. So that's crazy to me. But in the lawsuit that was filed, Klacik claimed that she had seen her career in right-wing media crater after Owens posted, According to Klacik's attorney, the pundit had lost a book deal, been pulled from political fundraisers, lost a contract with a nationally recognized vendor, and seen her television appearances dry up. Klacik had at one point, like Owens, been a regular guest on Fox News programming. The lawsuit alleges that Owens' video was the culmination of a petty Twitter feud between two of the most prominent black conservative pundits and supporters of former President Donald Trump. According to the lawsuit, the back and forth between the two started when Klacik responded to a tweet by Owens criticizing President Joe Biden, declaring Juneteenth a national holiday. Sometimes I wonder, and this is quoting, sometimes I wonder when, if ever, black America will wake up to the psychological warfare and perpetual brainwash to believe everything is racist. Owens tweeted at the time, prompting Klacik to reply, "Believe it or not, many in black America are very aware the fight is about classism rather than racism. Unfortunately, the loudest mouths with the largest platforms represent the majority. This might come as a shock to you because of your lack of engagement with black people." I mean, there's nothing liable there, but yeah, you kind of fired the first shot. Like, you know, what'd you expect to happen? But yeah, when Candace responded with that, I was like, okay, yeah, it's a little over the top. While specifically noting she is not an investigative journalist and could not confirm any allegations about Klacik, Owens nonetheless accused her of money. Okay, then you just admitted you're wrong. Like, I'm sorry, like, when it can be proved that and we've learned this, when it can be proved that you've suffered financial loss or damages by a statement that's inaccurate without proof made by someone, you have grounds for libel. You do. You do. And she's suing for $20 million. I was like, ooh. While specifically noting, and again, that does not remove you from that does not remove all responsibility. It's like that does not remove you from the libel accusation or libel. My brain is just dead this morning.
Libel laws.
You can't sit there and say that, with all due respect, and then say something, because like that does not eliminate the ramifications of what you say. Owens nonetheless, and Owens needs to understand something. You are in the spotlight, and she knows this. Whatever you say, CNN is listening. Fox is listening. You had better be dead on the money when you make an accusation like that. And you better come with the proof, because if you don't, bro, like Daily Wire, like she works for them. So when you've got a mouth that's doing something like, and this is recent, this is not long, this is recent. Be careful with that, man. Be careful with that.
That's why I don't like identity politics. Mm-hmm. Like, it shouldn't matter.
That's how she got famous, as identity politics. That's how all of them got famous, as identity politics.
Shouldn't matter what color you are, what race you are. What is the most important is your ideas and your values and what you stand for. Mm-hmm. Like, as soon as people stop using the color of their skin to further,
their own agenda,
their agenda, then that we'll all be in a much better place. It's whoever has the best ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yep. While specifically noting she is not an investigative journalist and could not confirm any allegations about Klacik, Owens nonetheless accused her of money laundering, tax fraud, and campaign fraud, and recruiting strippers to work at a club she claims Klacik's husband owns. Okay, I don't see anything illegal or wrong with that. I mean, morality-wise, yeah, I could see why people would be against that. That makes sense. Like, oh my God, strippers are bad. Well, then don't hire a stripper. Okay, got it. Fine. That's the land of free. And this is, Candace Owens kind of serves, to my mind, as like the archetype of conservatism, that if you don't agree with me religiously, you're wrong. Like, your politics must be wrong. You're not in favor of actual liberty. You're trying to use these morality clauses to combat other people. I don't agree with that. Like, you're trying to, like, oh my God, your husband owns a strip club. You're a horrible human being. Well, if you think about it, they voluntarily go and strip. They make money. They're paid for their services. That's capitalism. But again, it has to fall into their lines of morality. I don't agree with that. I just don't. Owens nonetheless accused her of money laundering. That's another one. Like, where are you getting these accusations? Like, where are you getting this from? Like, where are you getting these accusations of money laundering from? Like, like, we've had dealings with fucking similar situations, not money laundering per se, but we've had similar, and I can't go into that because we signed a contract, not us, thankfully. But we've seen firsthand how that is actually done.
Yeah.
And blew me fucking away because something like that you better have actual proof for. And to have actual proof, we talk about, what was that, like a forensic auditing, and that means like they're going in there and combing through your shit. So unless Owens did that, she does not know what the fuck she's talking about. She's going off of mere accusations, and therefore she's rightfully being sued. I hope Clayclick wins. If this is true and she made accusations without proof, I hope she wins. She deserves it. Because if Candace Owens ruined her based upon the audience that she has and turns GOP against her, ladies and gentlemen, this is only proof as to why I say when you put the hands of the GOP in one singular person, in one voice, that's your new dictator. So when you do it for Trump, you do it for Owens, you do it for Shapiro, you do it for you do it for Crenshaw, I'm telling you, you better be very careful with that. You better be very careful with that, because when they control a certain movement based upon how they think, you either fall in line with that or you get what happens to Clayclick. You're demonized and your shit is over. Like, good luck. And that's why a party is fucking worthless. Towards the end of her video, Owens seemed to acknowledge her video was precipitated by the Juneteenth tweet squabble complaining about a new grift and hustle on the right when it comes to matters of race. Specifically, Owens affirmatively accused Ms. Clayclick of tax fraud, campaign fraud, money laundering, illegal drug use, and acting as a madam. There was no truth to the allegations, the lawsuit stated. In making these allegations of criminal activity, Owens claimed to have received information from someone who stripped with Ms. Clayclick, and who allegedly told Owens that Ms. Clayclick used campaign funds to purchase cocaine and scam people of millions, the complaint adds. These caustic and made-up defamatory allegations are without factual support. She literally used anecdotal evidence to be her claim. Okay. We've all done it, but there's some things that's kind of like, wait, what? Like, you're accusing a mainstream GOP candidate of money laundering, illegal drug. And like the drug use, even if it's illegal drug, like, who the fuck cares? Okay, she did some blow. All right, I don't give a shit. You think Trump never did drugs?
He said he's never even drank alcohol.
Bullshit.
You don't think so?
Bullshit. I don't agree with that. Yeah, I think he's lying. Like, I've never done blow, but I've smoked weed. I think the worst I've ever done in the case of worse is smoked weed. I've never dropped acid, never stuck a needle in me except for freaking tattoos and shit. And it's like, but even if she goes out there and she's fucking, I don't care. None of my business. I don't give a shit what she does. It's like saying that, like, you know,
I don't want
you can't have sex that way. You can't do. It's kind of like sodomy. People.
I don't want a drug addict in office who is making big important decisions.
Of course, but when you're going to utilize illegal drug use, okay, like what?
Like if you're in college and you're doing some stuff, or you're younger and
if you're an addict, I definitely don't want you running for 100%.
Like the one crackhead up in Canada, he's dead now. Remember him?
No,
he was a great big fat guy who
I don't remember.
He was famous for. Like smoking crack, he got arrested for it. He was the mayor up in Canada. You don't remember that?
He was fat and smoked crack?
Yeah.
He was like the worst crack addict I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Okay. I mean, that. All right.
Okay. Hang on, let me find him.
All right, we'll come back to that then. In a statement to Law and Crime, Clayclick attorney Jacob S. Frankel said that baseless character assassination has no place in political dialogue. Have you ever heard political dialogue? That's all they do. I mean, come on.
It was Rob Ford.
Rob Ford. Okay. Somebody in the chat on Twitch said bling bling from bum fights. Oh my God. I have never snorted cocaine. Never.
Smells great.
I was about to say, I've been curious about how it smelled. No, I'm playing. Even if somebody does smoke crack, I don't give a fuck. I'm probably going to enter into a business dealing with them because I don't know if they're like addicted to crack and they're well within their right mind. I don't know. But you get where I'm going with this. I don't care if somebody does recreational drugs in their off time. As long as it doesn't impact their leadership ability, I don't give a shit. Now, if they're an addict, yeah, I agree. That's a little too far off. Anyway, said that baseless character assassination has no place in political dialogue, and Owens used her huge social media platform to attack a respected Baltimore political figure. Clayclick first came to prominence when she unsuccessfully ran for the House seat vacated after Representative Elijah Cummings' death in 2020, losing to Democratic candidate Kweisi Mfume. She quickly gained notice for a viral video of her walking the streets of Baltimore declaring black people don't have to vote Democrat, prompting Trump to boost her campaign and securing her an invite to the Republican National Convention. So I guess that's what does it. Yeah, to be invited to the Republican National Convention, the RNC, you've got to make a viral video and be a black person that uses identity politics. And okay, I seem to notice a trend here. Interesting. Following her failed congressional bid, Kleytlich was until recently a frequent Fox News guest and had even occasionally co-hosted midday panel show Outnumbered. And Owens, of course, has long been familiar with the face on Fox News, specifically Tucker Carlson's show, and currently hosts a podcast for Ben Shapiro's right-wing media company, the media empire, The Daily Wire. And that completes the article, but it's just like saying, you've given her all this power. Like conservatives, you gave her all this power, and she wielded it, and she just destroyed somebody. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Canada's going to learn. You're going to learn real quick. Don't fucking open your mouth about shit you don't know about. Like, anecdotal evidence is not evidence. It's an experience, but it's not evidence. So when you say money laundering, acting like a madam, and everything for the people that don't know, unless I have this wrong, acting like a madam means turning strippers into prostitutes.
A madam?
And facilitating, facilitating sexual experiences between a stripper and a patron, from my understanding, my guess. I could be wrong on that. I mean, I don't know.
That's what I learned from HBO's
Is that true?
Real Sex video.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never dealt with that.
Yeah, that's
okay.
I think that's
so it's facilitating deals of like, okay, so yeah, it's like running a prostitution.
The madam would be, I think, the equivalent of a pimp.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough.
She would handle the stable of hoes.
And here's the thing: if we legalize prostitution, what need have you of a pimp? Go into business for yourself. There you go. We're creating jobs out here. We're creating jobs. It's great. It's what you want.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever you got to do to get ahead, I guess.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us at shellshockcbd.com. Code SUB, S-U-B, saves you 20% off for the month of September. Oh, spit in my mouth, Daddy. That's what we're doing. I've got the thing. I'm going to have like some great sound effects for y'all tomorrow. It's going to be wonderful. But check us out at Shell Shock CBD. Thank you for listening to the show. And don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. We are there. Do me a favor, go out and leave us a wonderful review on our podcast on iTunes. We really appreciate it. It does and goes a long way, more than you realize. After all, Josh and I are in here on our day off. It is 1:16 p.m. here on this Monday morning or Monday afternoon on Labor Day, providing you with great quality entertainment. Thank you for subscribing over on Twitch and for tuning in on Twitch. You can watch the live streams on Twitch and Facebook right now. If you want to support the stream, you can do so on twitch.com/TheJohnBurke. I'm live on these podcasts. You can donate money. You can donate bits. You can subscribe for free. If you have Amazon Prime, use Bezos' money to pay me. That's right. I'm going to totally manipulate the system or manipulate the optics on that, which I mean is actually true. I mean, you can literally use your Amazon Prime account and subscribe to my channel on Twitch, and it pays me $4.99 a month, and you don't pay a dime. It actually helps support it. So support the channel, support us. I really appreciate your love and support. Thank you so very much for all what you've done for us to help us, our voice continue to grow. You can find me on Twitter at Sergeant Savage. Tweet me out there. You can find me on Instagram. My private account or my personal account is The John Burke, and then my political public account is Sergeant Savage 1776. You can find me there. And again, we're banned on YouTube for the next couple of days. We will not be streaming live on YouTube, but the videos will be uploaded to my backup YouTube channel and Rumble. We are on Rumble, so you can find us there. And we're going to be doing a lot more to push people over to Rumble. So y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing y'all live tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. CST, right here on the All American Savage Show. I am your host, John Burke, and my co-host, Josh. Anything to say, Josh?
Yeah, make sure you check out Shell Shock CBD. And we've got some of the best CBD products on the market.
We really do. We really do. At the best prices, too.
Yep.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen.